Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and do consider supporting the channel via PayPal or Patreon. You'll find the links in the video description. Day 1 of the World Blitz Chess Championship is over. 12 rounds have been played and there is a clear leader. Levon Aronian has 10 points. In second place, Bassem Armin from Egypt with 9.5. Dr. Bassem Armin, he's actually a medical doctor, and that's his real job. The chess is just something on the side. Parham Maksudlu is in third with 9 points, and then there's a stack of players on 8.5, including Magnus Carlsen, Jan Nepomniachtchi, Nakamura, Artemiev, Grishuk. It's well, loads of players. Basically, it's still wide open. It's a 21 round event, so a lot still to happen. And I think in Blitz especially, you know, you can get in the flow and suddenly you can find a rhythm. And whoever manages to do that in the second day, well, they will be the winner. But at the moment, Levon Aronian in the lead, and I'd like to show you one of his games. So, well, I've kind of given you a spoiler really, telling you that Aronian is leading the event, and he does indeed win this game in fine style against Jan-Krzysztof Duda, the 23-year-old Polish player who's, well, the home crowd favourite, of course. The event is being played in Warsaw. And Duda has a good reputation in Blitz. So let's see. Anyway, e4, really sharp line of the English. You know, white claiming space in the centre and, you know, ready to push that knight back. So it's very important that black reacts quickly, either with c5 or d5. d5 played by Aronian. That's kind of the most reliable move. And here e5 is possible. And then these are the main lines. d4, but instead pawn takes pawn, and then e5. And here, well, Aronian himself has played knight e4 on many occasions, but here he went for d4. Pawn takes knight, and here, well, yeah, big trade of pawns basically. But before recapturing here, bishop b5 check was played, so that's a tricky little number. This has been played before. You can block with c6, but you can see that takes away the square from the knight, check. And this is a very interesting line where white sacks a pawn. But anyway, that's another story. Knight c6 played. Queen e2 check. So the check is played because, of course, black cannot block here. But also, white has designs to castle queenside potentially. Queen takes f6. So, okay, the situation in the middle has cleared. Now both sides try to complete their development as quickly as possible. Bishop d6. That's a nice solid square for the bishop, protected by the pawn. Bishop g5, but the queen gets pushed around. Just for a moment, it's a little bit uncomfortable for black, but actually, in this position, the queen succeeds in finding a safe square. And actually, to my eyes, this looks like good preparation from Aronian. You know, this is quite a theoretical line, and I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure he's well prepared in this. So black basically has survived the initial onslaught. If bishop c4 is interesting, of course, you know, a very direct move, looking at the bishop, and of course that bishop is pinned. But I think after this takes, well, I think there's a threat to take here and take the bishop. White would be ill-advised to take that pawn. That would just open everything up. You can see that black's pieces here are very nicely placed, very stable pieces. Even though black's pawns have been messed up a bit, you know, tactically, I think black is fine there. Anyway, that's bishop c4. Bishop h3 played instead. Castle's kingside from Aronian, and castle's queenside. Well, bishop e3 is a safer move. That bishop is out on a limb there, but okay, in Blitz chess, you just play the obvious moves. You castle queenside, and it looks like white is ready to play g4, and the queen could be in trouble. It looks so natural to play in this way, but in fact Aronian has a very strong move here that gets him out of trouble. He played knight e5. Really important move considering that g4 was a threat. So if g4, that bishop can be swiped off the board, and now the queen finds a safe square. And well, with the two bishops, in fact, black is very comfortably placed there. That's a nice position for black. And of course, if knight takes knight, then queen takes bishop, check, and black is winning. So actually, Duda, incredibly, after this move knight e5, is in trouble. White's pieces are just kind of overloaded tactically. That's why it would have been better to retreat the bishop. But Duda comes up with a very interesting solution to his problems. Well, he doesn't manage to solve all his problems, but interesting move. Bishop e4, knight takes knight, and of course if bishop takes, then queen takes bishop check, black is a piece up. But look at Duda's idea, h4, just protecting that bishop. And then he's ready to recapture, and basically everything is fine again. But here is where Aronian comes up with a little bit of magic. Knight takes bishop. That knight, of course, is pinned, but he doesn't mind giving up his queen. Knight takes bishop. So we've got a strange material balance of 3 minor pieces for the queen. But actually, Aronian's judgment here is excellent. He has appreciated in those split seconds in a Blitz game that actually the minor pieces are a match for the queen. Well, more than a match. Black is actually doing very well here. And the reason is that these pieces are so stable. You know, it's very hard for the rooks and the queen to attack anything in black's position. If you're playing against the queen, you need stability. You need to be rock solid because the queen has this ability to sniff out weaknesses. But here, what can the queen attack? Queen f3. Well, Duda attacks that knight. Perhaps, well, there's not much to attack. I mean, maybe he's hoping after the knight drops back to take here. Even that would be fine for black. But instead, Aronian takes no chances and simply secures that knight in the middle of the board. And why not? It's actually very stable. g4. Well, Duda is trying to shake that stability, but it's hard. And in fact, well, here Aronian plays a very natural move. He just brings the rook over to e8, maintaining that solidity. All his pieces are protected. It's excellent. In fact, if one had more time to calculate, then one could see that this is actually a winning move. Because after queen takes, bishop check. If the king goes, then bishop f5, and that pins and wins. And if rook d2, then of course this is completely crushing. Check. And bishop here. That's the point. So it's those kind of forcing tactical lines that perhaps are a little bit long, that you don't have time to calculate in Blitz. In Blitz, you play a move that simply looks good and holds your position and maintains your advantage. And that's exactly what rook e8 does. You know, it's important to play quick moves and good moves. And that's good. Good enough. And it's very hard for white to do anything in this position. g5 played. But now, simple move, bishop c5. Attacking the pawn on f2. Rook h2 defends. Oh, ugly move. I'm sure Duda cannot have enjoyed playing that. The rook is, well, just sidelined and passive. Now, simple move, bishop takes pawn. And that starts the process of just taking apart white's king position. But the crucial thing is that black is stable. There's not a lot that can be attacked in black's position. All the pieces are stable. And that means the queen has nothing to hit. b4. Duda trying to shake things up, but this, of course, just weakens his king position. Bishop d6. Attacks the rook. Well, if the rook moves, yeah, then black can just, for example, turn to attacking the king like this and take here, and suddenly the king is in huge trouble. So Duda tried to shake things up, tried to give his queen a little bit of sort of room to maneuver by sacking back in exchange. It isn't a bad idea, but it's too little too late. So it means that, you know, his queen can now move, basically, for example, here. But, well, now black is even material ahead. Rook and 2 minor pieces. And again, it's just about keeping a stable position here. Queen f4 threatens to trap the knight. But rook c8 is a simple move. Threatening the pawn. Rook h3 defends the pawn. Rook c4, nice move. Still everything protected. Looking through to the queen. Rook e3. And now here's what looks like a strange move. Rook d8. So what has Aronian got in mind? Why did he protect that lowly pawn? Well, if you have a look, if f3, so Duda still might be wanting to move that to trap the knight or push it to an unfortunate square. Then knight f2 threatens a knight fork and hits the queen. And in this case, queen takes pawn would be a reasonable move, but in this case, it's protected by the rook. That's why the rook went to d8. h5, knight takes c3, threatens knight d1 again and the queen. Queen goes back. Bishop d5, attacks the queen. I mean, actually, the queen is in huge trouble here. Queen takes f5, and this was the final move of the game. Rook f8. That is just too much for white to bear. The queen is attacked. It doesn't have many good squares. It doesn't have any good squares, really. If the queen drops back to c2, well, in fact, protecting that pawn doesn't help at all. Rook takes pawn. If queen takes, then there's a knight fork. That's just one way to win. Apart from that, rook takes b4 check isn't bad as well. So you can see, you know, after this move, rook f8, white's position is falling apart all over the board. So there we go. Aronian on sparkling form there. Excellent judgment, fine grasp of tactics. Let's see if he can keep up the form and actually win. So just to recap, he's in the lead with 10 points, but there's a big chasing pack. 12 games have been played. They played 21. I'll report back and let you know what happens in the finale of the World Blitz Championship. Thanks for watching.